Today I want to share with you some things I'm really seeing working well for 2026 based on my clients, based on my business networks, based on my mastermind groups, and my own experience as well. What am I really seeing being the big shifts in 2026 for the online space? What am I seeing already working really well and also predicting is going to continue working really well? And essentially just where should you focus right now? Now, first off, this was not on my YouTube schedule to be coming in and recording this video specifically, but I thought of it a couple days ago when I was writing up my Q1 sales report for my one-to-one clients. This is a full 7-page document where I'm essentially sharing a real breakdown into a report on the industry right now of just what am I seeing really working well. So I wrote that up and I have that with me today, and I'm going to be sharing some of the notes from that. Essentially, you're going to get the Cliff Notes version. And I wanted to talk about this because this is really, really important, because I think a lot of us can look back at 2025 as, it being a harder year. Some things were really shifting. We were noticing some strategies or some certain approaches that we had always relied on just weren't really quite hitting the same anymore. And oh my gosh, I've had this conversation with so many of my clients and business friends of really noticing that at some point last year, some things that had worked really well just weren't really working in the same way. And whereas before we could have known that I do a launch and I tend to expect these numbers, we weren't really seeing those anymore. And suddenly things felt like they were shifting a little bit. And I know a lot of people felt a little bit panicked by that. And we're kind of thinking, okay, if that's not working, what is? Like, what do I move to instead? So I wanted to share some of those things today from my insight. And this is speaking as someone who is just in this space a lot, not just from the perspective of obviously my own business. And I am actually, running a business, signing clients, marketing, doing sales actions every single day, but also from the perspective of all of my clients that I've worked with in so many different industries, from the perspective of my business networks with my business friends who we regularly will meet and mastermind together, and hearing their takes on what they've seen work really well, what they've been trying, from my own mentorship groups as well, and the containers that I'm paying to be inside with multiple 6-figure and 7-figure entrepreneurs. What is really working right now? So I've collected all of that together essentially and really pulled this together to give a bit of an overview of just some specific strategies I'm seeing work well right now, and also just what are the overall shifts of lean more in this direction essentially for 2026. Now, before we dive into that as well, as I mentioned, I was really inspired to do this video because I was writing up a full 7-page document for all of my one-to-one clients of a Q1 sales report for 2026. But I was thinking as I was writing this is just so good. This is golden, honestly, the information that I've just compiled here and just the strategies and just the different shifts to lean into in 2026. I was thinking I wanted to have some way to share a little nugget of that even with you. So obviously there's this video, and also I've written up the first 3 pages of this sales report that is just exclusive for my one-to-one clients. I've put that into a Google Doc for you, so you can get that completely for free. This is the first 3 pages of this sales report. So we're giving you some really specific pieces of what to focus on, some ideas of how to implement this, some examples of where this has worked really well in a lived experience as well. So make sure you go to the link in the description and sign up for that. You can get literally the first 3 pages of this sales report completely for free of what is actually working right now for 2026. So I hope you enjoy that. Okay, so before I share with you any really specific micro examples of what you can really be doing and what is actually working, I want to talk first about what are the overall shifts that we're really seeing in the landscape that are then creating these changes in what did used to work and isn't working anymore, and also what is working really well right now. So essentially, why am I seeing these things happen? And I think there's a couple things which we're really seeing right now. The first of those is that the information age is really over. I know we spoke about this, I think it was probably 15 years ago or so, as this is the information age of now we have the internet and everyone can suddenly access information and it's so accessible and we're kind of just wanting more information. I think we are fatigued by this now. We've really got to a place where I'm sure all of us can relate to this. We have purchased so many courses. We've got so many YouTube videos that we wanted to watch on tutorials on things. We've signed up for so many free masterclasses that our brains are crammed with knowledge and we have too much information, and it's become the point where it's just not helpful anymore. It's almost making business feel harder just from how much noise there is in your brain on you should do this, you should do this, do this strategy instead, this is doing really well right now. And there's almost so much noise that it's just not helpful anymore. This is again a part of the reason why I wanted to put together that sales report of just really condensing this into a simplified version. So even the full client version, right, it's 7 pages. It is really simplified there, but the free version, which you can get the link in the description, is literally just 3 pages. It's It's really simple, really intentional, and this is all backed by data, by my clients, by my own network. And the good thing, which I did for this and which I'm seeing in this shift working really well right now, is that actually it's not about the information anymore, it's about the application of this. So for example, in the 3-page document, the sales report preview, you will see that inside of that, I have some examples of application of what does it look like to actually apply this? How have people actually put this into action? What is working really well when I actually do this right now? What does it look like to live this essentially? And this is the part of the shift which I think we can really lean into in 2026, because it's not just about create a course, film some modules, and just information vomit essentially over someone. That used to work, and I feel like 3 years ago that was the thing, just to create a course and just give loads more information to people. But I'm really seeing right now application of the information is the most helpful thing for people. And this is where I think this is a prediction, so you can hold me to this as well, feel free to make a note. But we're really seeing, I think, this shift towards higher level programs being more what people are looking for. Because I think a few years ago, we all loved the idea of really, being that course binger. We would just do one course here, we'd buy another one, it would be Black Friday, we'd jump into another course, and they're just passive things that we just watch and we consume, and we make notes, we have a notebook for it, and we'll apply some of it, but we're just gathering information essentially. I think all of us have gone through that phase, and we're just really tired of that essentially, and we have too much information in our brains that we know so much stuff. We just need to figure out, how do I apply this to me and my business? And this is where custom, tailored, unique, higher level solutions and support are really going to come in, I predict. And I feel like we're already seeing this a little bit, and I've had so many conversations with business friends. I was at an event a couple days ago with 100 women, and I was speaking with a lot of them, and a lot of them were kind of expressing this opinion of actually they're not looking for any courses or information. They are really looking for that tailored, high-level support of someone that they can jump into a one-to-one program or a mastermind to have a specific focus and to work on something specifically and get that application piece in their business. And again, I think this is just because we have so much information out there right now. It's so easy for people to watch YouTube videos and things, look on ChatGPT and ask them questions, but it's just really easy for us to get a lot of information essentially. And I think really we're going into the time of application, so asking yourself, how can I make sure I'm building that into my programs, is going to be really key. The second thing I think we're really seeing as a big overall shift is just more intention with every single investment. And again, I think we can probably all experience this, and you're probably nodding your head as you're thinking of this, but we're really just putting more intention into all of the buying decisions we're making. I feel like a few years ago, it was a really easy yes to, again, just almost consume as much information as possible, buy lots of the things. That sounds good, great, let me get that. But I think a lot of people are in the place where they're really just looking for the right type of support, and they are very conscious of the fact that if we just overload ourselves with so much support and we buy, 50 courses, we're not going to be able to get through 50 courses, and we're going to just, it's going to be a wasted investment. It's just going to sit on the laptop collecting dust essentially. And people are just being so much more intentional with where they're spending their money. That's not a bad thing. That's something you can actually use to your advantage, but they are being more intentional. And there's a couple aspects here where I think you can really use it to your advantage, because I think there's a couple reasons why this is really going on, aside from everything I've already said. Firstly, this is really something where people are so much clearer on the problem that they have. I think a few years ago, in a business example, people were very attracted to the idea of just grow your business, and you could be as simple as that essentially, and people would just jump in and they would say, sounds great, I want to grow my business. Versus now, people are really hyper aware of what their problem is. They have tried different solutions. They, again, knowing that we have so much information out there, they are really able to kind of self-diagnose essentially much easier. So they're able to see, okay, it's, from a business perspective, a content problem, and I really need to fix my content specifically. On a more personal side, it might be that they know, I've tried this weight loss method already, I've tried this specifically, so I need something which works as a mom. I need something which works with my certain lifestyle, being really busy, etc. And this is where we kind of just need to shift our language a little bit to be more specific, to speak to those specific people. And this also leads into another reason why I think we're really seeing this intention behind every investment, is that there are a lot more people in the online space now. Realistically, we know since 2020 kind of time, there's a lot more people that have entered the space, meaning there's a lot more people who on paper do exactly the same thing as you. And on paper, they can help a client with the exact same thing. So what makes you different? And it's so much harder for an ideal client to actually look around and decide, who are they going to invest in? Why are they going to invest in that specific person? Unless you give them a reason. this is, again, as I said, is something you can really take as a helpful thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing of, oh, it's really annoying that people are putting more attention into investments. It's actually a good thing because I think it means that we're going to see better client results coming through because the right type of people are able to jump into your programs. And also, when someone does find your program and realizes this is a great fit for them, I think almost people are jumping in quicker once they find the one for them. It's just the case of finding the one that is the tricky part for a lot of people, and they're struggling with finding someone who is a good fit, does offer exactly what they want, does specifically work with, mums or people in this stage of their business or life or whatever it is for them. So this is where you can really benefit from being specific and also thinking about really that question of, knowing there's so many options, why would someone work with me? What is your unique experience? What is your methodology? What makes you stand out as opposed to anyone else that they could potentially hire? And this leads a bit into one of the things that I'm seeing work really, really well for 2026. Again, you can get all of this inside of the free Google Doc at the link in the description, but that is really hyper-specific transformations of just being really specific. Again, it could cut 3 years ago saying generalities like, I'm going to help you feel better. I'm going to help you grow your business. And more general things like that. But nowadays, especially when we can be really specific, it lands so much better and it makes it a heck yes for the right person when they actually see your offer. I've given some examples in the Google Doc of specific strategies that I would really recommend right now for this that I'm seeing work really well, because there's a couple things that are doing just so well right now when it comes to this. And then the third shift, which I want to talk about in this video that I'm really seeing in the industry right now, is that storytelling based content is really, really winning. I think we could kind of all predict this, and I think it kind of makes sense why this is happening. Because with the rise of AI, with, again, information overload, the information doesn't separate you necessarily anymore. Saying, I know the 3-step formula to do this, and it doesn't really necessarily separate you anymore, especially if it is a more general methodology compared to a lot of other people. But it's really the story and the intention behind this which really adds a lot of weight, especially compared to what it used to. And I think in the time of AI, when actually, a lot of people are using AI for content, a lot of people are kind of pulling things together there, we know that AI just doesn't have the humanness, essentially, that storytelling component, which just makes humans so human, really, and really helps us relate and connect with each other. This is a piece which is an instant trust factor that you can't fake and you can't replicate. You sharing your story, you sharing how you got into what you're doing right now, you sharing your own result, sharing the client result, and really bringing in a storytelling element to this, that is going to land and be remembered by someone so much more than something which is that little bit more general, doesn't have the human emotion to it, and almost can feel a little bit AI sometimes. And again, tying back into some of the other points, this is really what makes someone want to work with you specifically over anyone else. This is what's going to make someone say, I have to work with this person, and not even be, weighing you up against the other fitness coach and comparing you with that person of which one is, more affordable, which one do I want to work with? But actually it makes it a really easy yes for you because they connect with you and they have this relationship and they have that trust because you shared those stories. And I've seen this for myself with so much of the Instagram content. If I can look back, over the last 6 months of the content I've posted, what has signed me clients, what has really gotten the most engagement, it has been that storytelling content. So I think really leaning into this right now is the way to easily separate yourself from the pack, because this is something you're not even needing to figure out, okay, what's my niche? How do I niche down? Or what is going to be my really, really specific transformation? It's just sharing you. You already have all those stories. They're already in the back of your mind. You have the clients already to ask them those stories and really pull those and add in the emotion side of this. So actually use those. Use the tools that you have already, because most of us, we just don't tend to add in these, and we tend to be a lot more logical and strategic when we're thinking about content or marketing, but actually the storytelling side just does so well nowadays. So those are a few of the overall shifts that I'm really seeing in the online space for our industry in the latter half of 2025 and going into 2026 as well, along with some predictions of what I'm really thinking we'll see. I am very, very excited for 2026. I feel like it's really bringing back a lot of intention and just authenticity almost to our space. And I'm very, very excited for that. As I said, make sure you go to the link in the description so you can get the free Google Doc with specific strategies and specific things that I would focus on if I was you in 2026, what I am actually seeing working well right now from my own experiences, my clients, my network, and my own mentorship as well. And I hope you found this video helpful. If you did and you like these more strategic breakdowns, make sure you give this video a like and make sure you subscribe for all the new videos. And I will see you in the next one.